Good afternoon and welcome back to the Daughter Arise channel. Hope that you are doing well today. Happy New Year, welcome to 2018. I pray that this year for you will be an amazing year, that all your hopes and dreams will be realised, that all your goals will be met, and that this time next year you will look back on 2018 and see that actually all the things that I wanted to achieve have been done, or that they're well on their way to getting to where you want them to be. I'm a big believer in setting goals each year, and as it gets to the end of each year I like to reflect upon my achievements and then look at what I want to achieve for the next year and go forward. I think it's so important to be able to do these things. But the reason I'm doing this video today is because for a lot of people, before they can even get to that stage of being able to set goals, to get on that track to be able to realize their dreams, at the beginning of that, a lot of people suffer with low self-esteem and confidence. And I wanted to talk about that today because I have seen, not only in my own life, this has happened to me, but in other people's life where they have low self-esteem and confidence, people will automatically treat them as if they're not good enough and talk to them a certain way and treat them a certain way, and that reinforces how they feel about themselves. But I wanted to talk to you today about that because I believe it is important for you to know that you are good enough, that you are valuable, and that you are lovable. Where I am today, I didn't just arrive here. It has been many years of work, of working on myself, of learning about myself, learning about how my experience affected me, to be able to know how to go forward and to break certain mindsets that had been established in me from a child. Now, many of you do know, as you already do know, that I was sexually abused, but there were many other dynamics that were going on in my parents' relationship that didn't actually feed into a productive environment for me to grow up in. I never remember my mum telling me that she loved me, that I was good enough, that I could achieve whatever it is I set my mind to. And not having that kind of support, that emotional support, really does have a kind of devastating effect on how you go forward in life. Especially if you're growing up in a household and you're seeing like abusive situations, which also does have an effect on self-esteem. On the other hand, being sexually abused by my father and being used and misused in that way did more than sow a seed in me to believe that I was used goods, that I was damaged, that I would never amount to anything, that I was rubbish, and that I was worthy of being treated bad. So with both of those things being added, both of those situations added together, by the time I reached my teenage years, I really didn't believe I had much to offer anybody. I suffered from depression, I had low self-esteem and confidence, I was quite a negative person, and I didn't really think in terms of things that I could achieve in the future. I was quite vulnerable as well, and this attracted wrong people into my life, and I allowed them to, and that allowed me to let them control me, control my decisions, control how I even thought about myself. And I had a conversation recently with somebody who is quite prominent in social services. They've had many years experience dealing with damaged children, looked after children, children who have been through really hard circumstances. And they were saying that self-esteem and confidence actually is one of the things that can help a young person be able to go forward in their life once they leave the care system. And I was saying to them, you know, being in care in itself is quite hard, because when you've been in care, you are dealing with so many different other factors. You've got all the dysfunction from being taken out of your family, the dysfunction of the relationships that are going on with those family members within your life, all the different things that you have to consider with being placed in different places, you know, reconnecting with people, and all these other kind of things that are going on in the forefront. And it's really hard to try and concentrate and you know, focus on building yourself up, building your identity. And it is no wonder then, by the time a lot of care leavers leave care, they have these kind of different issues that weren't resolved that they're dealing with. And that was what happened with me. I left the care system at 17 years old. Sorry, I'm still recovering from laryngitis. Left the care system at 17 years old, pregnant, still had the same dysfunction from a lot of relationships with my family, still hadn't even scratched the surface with dealing about what happened to me in my childhood. But I was suffering from low self-esteem, suffering from low confidence. And one of the things that I learned is that that before I could even begin to feel that I was good enough, I had to deal with the issues that were helping me to feel that I was unworthy, basically. I had to start to deal with those issues to be able to, put them to rest so that I could then look forward and start to deal with everything to do with me. I am not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect. People sometimes have this perception of me because I do present myself well, but I've always been like that from a child. I've always presented myself well. I do believe to some extent, how you present yourself on the outside, how you carry yourself, not just in terms of what you wear, but in terms of how you carry yourself on the outside, really does put you in good stead and helps people to have an impression of you. Not that we're doing things for people to validate us or to be approved by people, but how you carry yourself on the outside is a reflection of how you are as a person. And for me, from being a teenager, from being young, I've always presented myself well on the outside. But not only that, I have done complete work within myself to make sure that what I'm portraying on the outside is a reflection of what comes from within. And those parts where I've worked on has been to do with my confidence and self-esteem. And I'm not perfect, you know, just because I present myself a certain way doesn't mean I'm perfect. But I have had a lot of negative comments directed towards me. I have had people feel that they can say anything they want to me because of that. But those things, I try not to take on board anymore because I realise that I am the person that I am. People see the fact that I do public speaking, and at times I'm not the most eloquent of people. I'm not the most eloquent of people. I sometimes get tongue-tied with my words, but what I do have is passion, and when I do speak, I'm able to deliver an emotive talk to people. And people have come up to me and commented that I am a powerful speaker. I am a powerful speaker, and I know that I'm a powerful speaker. I may not be able to reel off all the words in the dictionary perfectly or know all the words in the dictionary, but what matters is the content that comes out from within, that comes out from my heart. That is what matters the most. Before, I would let these comments and what people had to say to me, maybe even up to even a year ago, maybe even up to 2 years ago, those comments would bother me. And I would put that down again to that part of me where I felt that I was not good enough to do something. But I am learning slowly and surely that I am good enough at whatever I put my mind to. And one of the things that has helped me to be able to do that is knowing my purpose in life. I know that the purpose why I'm here is to encourage and inspire hope in other people who have had similar experiences through my speaking, through my books that I write, through my blogs, through all the content that I create, through my events. This is what the gift that God has given me, to empower people. And because I know my purpose and because I know what it is that I am gifted at, this has helped me to be able to know that I am good enough. Also as well, my relationship with God, that has helped me because naturally by myself, I probably am not the most confident of people, but because God has shown me that he has confidence in me and that he is with me in all that I do, I take that as my confidence because he created me. What better validation for me than the person who created me, the God that created me, telling me that he is with me in all that I do, and that I am his, and that he is with me, and to be courageous wherever I go because he is with me. So I take that as my confidence, and as a matter of fact, I call it Godfidence. My confidence comes from God's validation of me. And it has not always been easy to accept that, but I accept his word as truth. So knowing that he has confidence in me, knowing that I have purpose, because of the things I'm called to do, has helped me to build self-esteem. Now, how do you get that? How do you start to believe that you're good enough? First of all, I have a word for you to say to you that you are worthy of all love. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, because that's what it says in God's word, the Bible. And also as well, you are valuable. There is not there's not another person like you in this world. There's no, if our DNA is what separates us down to the very, very minutest of things, how we speak, our mannerisms, our personalities, the way we view things. You are a unique person. And no matter what you've been through in life, and I know it's hard because you've been through abuse, people have hurt you, people have treated you bad, and it's really affected the core of your being. Even with all those things, I want to tell you that you are lovable, that you are worthwhile, and that God has a plan and a purpose for your life. And you know what? You may not even believe in God, and that's absolutely okay, because everybody has something that they draw hope from. For me, as I'm very vocal about the fact that Jesus is where I get my hope from. But no matter where you draw your hope from, there are unique things that have been placed in you that are unique to you finding yourself. So you might be drawn to certain things like art. You might be very good at speaking or poetry, or connecting with people, or loving or caring for other people. These are traits that have been put in you that need to be discovered and explored further. I would encourage you today to start to explore some of those things. I know it's very hard when people make comments to you and they see that you're suffering on the outside, because even for me, I'm one of those people where when I am hurting, when I am sad, you will see it in my face. You will see it in my demeanour, because that is just the way I am. Some people are good at hiding how they feel. They can put on the happy face all the time and come and present themselves to the world a certain way. And those people that do that are also very good at then pointing out to other people their shortcomings and how they're dealing with things as well. But behind closed doors, only God knows what goes on when those masks are taken off. But I know it's very hard, because people have said things to you and have hurt you and treated you a certain way. And that's had an effect on how you feel about yourself. And people seeing that have then fed into that and, kind of reinforced that to you, that you're not good enough. But you are good enough. You are lovable. You are valuable. And, it's going to take time for you to be able to repair from the hurt that has happened to you. But there are little things that you can do to help you to start to feel that you are valuable, and that we know that you're valuable. We know that you're lovable. We know that you're worthwhile. Because God tells us so. He tells me so through his word. That is already established as truth. But the thing is, do you believe it as truth? And that is what we're going to try, and this is what we're going to try and do. Try and help you to believe that it is truth. How can you do that? First of all, speaking positive affirmations to yourself each day. One of the things I did when I was at the lowest about myself, suffering from depression and anxiety, I used to hate myself. If I'm going to be honest with you, going back maybe even 10 years ago, even up to 10 years ago, I hated myself. I couldn't find anything good to say about myself. But one of the things that I started to do that practically started to help me was to speak positive affirmations to myself and to write them down. So I would stand in front of the mirror with tears running down my face because I felt so low and so bad about myself. And I'd say, Yvonne, you're beautiful. You are worthwhile. You have a lot to offer the world. Yvonne, you are talented. You're creative. You are a wonderful woman. All these type of things I would say to myself. And this was in spite of how I felt about myself. As I said, I would stand in front of the mirror, tears running down my eyes, but I would still say these things. Another thing that you can do is to write these little things down. Write down 3 things about yourself. You may not believe them for now, but just write down 3 things. It could be, I have a lot to offer the world. I am a beautiful person. I am going to be somebody of great worth and importance. Wherever it is, write 2 or 3 things down on a piece of card or piece of paper and stick it near your mirror. And each day, just try and affirm and say those things to yourself each day. You'll be surprised over time because, the Bible tells us, and it says in God's word, that death and life is found in the power of the tongue. So, we have to be careful about the things that we speak about ourselves and speak over our lives and speak about other people, because there is power in that. We're speaking it out into the world. We're speaking out these things, and, we have to be careful with how we use our words, especially how we use it about ourselves. So what better way to use our words about ourselves than to say positive things that affirm ourselves? This is really important. And by writing these things down, it can help you. Second thing that can help you to feel good enough about yourself, because at the core of it, it is about the reason why we don't feel good about ourselves is because of low self-esteem and low confidence. So seeking help to be able to look at those areas where we are feeling bad about ourselves. It's not popular. It's very hard to face what has happened to us with sexual abuse. I know people who have been through sexual abuse or been through abuse, and they function okay on a day-to-day level. They're able to go through the motions of being a parent, working a job, doing all these things, but they are just functioning at that level. If you were to try and broach the subject with them, they completely shut down. Now, in order to be able to function freely and to be able to live the life that you want to live freely and to express yourself freely, every area within ourselves that has hindered us, has hurt us, has to be acknowledged, has to be explored and dealt with. You will never be able to function at 100% of where you want to be at life if you've got a part of you inside that has been locked off because you don't want to deal with it because it's too painful. I'm not saying that in not dealing with stuff, it's not going to be painful. It's going to be painful. It is going to be hard. It is going to cost you time. You might have to grieve for some stuff, but it's important that we do that. In order to be able to face those things, those words that were spoken over us as a child, the actions that was committed by others against us, in order to be able to heal from them, we have to face them. Because those are the things that are holding us in that place of feeling not good enough, or feeling that we are unworthy. That low self-esteem and low confidence is coming from this place. So in order to be able to move on, we need to release that place. Counselling is a good way to be able to do it. And I know some people are very taboo about counselling, but counselling, as you know, on this channel I talk about it a lot. I'm a big advocate of counselling. I believe when you need it, you should go and get it. It is not always easy to get, and it certainly is not cheap if you have been through sexual abuse, because you have to pay for specialised counselling. But little things that can help to start to roll and get that those doors open within yourself where you're suffering is talking to someone. Yeah, you could go to the doctors and get the counselling that they offer. That might be a doorway to start to deal with the bigger issues. Just talking to somebody about some of the things that affected you. Journaling is another fantastic thing I talk about on this channel a lot. Journaling and writing down how you feel about stuff. This is your space. This is something that you can own, that nobody has to know what you write, but you can have this space to be honest about things that are affecting you. These are things that can really help you to be able to release some of the things that are holding you within yourself. Engaging in groups. We do a support group with Daughter Arise. Every month we do a support group where we come together and we do activities, have discussions that are aimed at building up self-esteem and confidence. It is a space where all survivors, and it's not just for survivors of sexual abuse, it's for any survivors of abuse to come together, because at the root of all abuse, self-esteem and confidence can be affected. So we don't discriminate in that sense, but you can come to get our group and you can get help and support amongst other like-minded people. And I will put the details to the website, which is www.daughterarise.org.uk, in the description box. So you can visit the website and you can find out the dates of our next meetings. So there is things that we can surround ourselves with that can help us to break some of those walls that have been built up from past painful experiences. Can break down those walls and help us to explore self-esteem and confidence. People will always try and make you feel inferior because of their own insecurities. So that's why I don't take personally anymore when people try and make me feel like I'm not good enough to do something. If God says to me that I'm good enough, who is anybody else? That's how I look on it now. Nobody can tell me what to do. People may have their titles and positions and think they're better than people, but we all bleed the same way and we're all human. So my advice to you is when people try and make you feel down about yourself, try not to take their comments to heart. What I'm more concerned about is that you are able to build up yourself. This year is a new year. It's a new time for you to really start to look at those areas that are hindering you from believing that you are good enough, that you are valuable. And you will find as you work through these areas that in time your mind will be clear to be able to kind of start to explore the things that are going to help you to believe that you have the very best life ahead of you in terms of the things that you want to do. Don't let anybody's negative view of you hinder you, and your past. This is so important for you to know. I was sexually abused in my past. It is my past. God has used my experience now to be able to empower and help those for a better future. But I am not defined by my past. That's why I'm against labels. Don't let your past sexual abuse define your life, define your relationships, define your aspirations, who you want to be. Don't let it define you. Your past is painful. It does need to be acknowledged. You do need to grieve for it. You do need to, take it for what it is. It's a very serious and hurtful thing that's happened to you. You may have got justice, you may have not, but don't let it define your future. Today is the day that you can make a difference in your life. Write down the things you want to achieve for this year. Write down 3 things that you're going to say to yourself each day to affirm yourself. And it's regardless of whether you believe it or not. Try and seek help. There are organisations out there. Maybe go to your GP, to try and see if you can get on a referral list for counselling. There are organisations that you can contact. I'll leave some descriptions, some organisations in the description bar below. This is your year to make a change. This is your year to break out of bondage. This is your year. God has a plan for you, and it is to give you a hope and a good future. Your future is not your past. So that is my word for you today. Be encouraged. Don't let anybody define you by their boxes. You are good enough, you are valuable, and everything involves hard work. Everything involves a little bit of making yourself vulnerable. But you will see the fruits of your work when you open up and let go. Because when you let go, you're going to be able to start building the foundations within yourself to start to develop good self-esteem and confidence in yourself. And when you have that, the sky and beyond will be the limit. Thank you for watching this video. In the left hand corner you may see the symbol for Daughter Arise. Please subscribe to this channel. I'm out here trying to help and support people, and any help, even just liking the video, supporting by subscribing to this channel and sharing it would be fantastic. And in the other corner you may see a video that you've not seen before. Please feel free to check it out. But Happy New Year to you. I pray that this year you'll go forward in courage and confidence, knowing that everything that you deserve will be waiting for you.